all, and welcome to Breakcast Transformers Talk. Transformers is a franchise that is built not only on the TV shows, web shows, and movies, but is also built upon the selling of toys. There have been some great toy lines and some that were not so great. I'm going to discuss what I think the best and worst Transformers toy lines are. All this is my opinion and not fact, so please do not take it as such. One of the Transformers toy lines I have the earliest memory of is the 2007 movie toy line. I really enjoyed that toy line, but I no longer have any of them. I do remember, however, getting the Voyager class Megatron, Deluxe class Bumblebee, Deluxe class Bone Crusher, Deluxe class Jazz, Deluxe class Barricade, Deluxe class Wreckage, and Deluxe class Brawl. All those toys were pretty great too. They had their issues, as does any toy, but for what they were when they came out, they were pretty awesome. So to me, that was one of the good toy lines. I actually did have a few of the Transformers Cybertron toys, obviously before the 2007 movie toys. They were alright. I also remember having this large Ultra Magnus toy that after some Googling was from the 2001 Robots in Disguise show. I may have had a few others from Robots in Disguise and Cybertron, but that was a long time ago, and I don't really remember that very well. But I assume they were not the greatest. Anyway, enough nostalgia and back to the main thing. I actually didn't have any of the Revenge of the Fallen toy line except for like a Legion or Legends class Mudflap. With that, I also didn't have many of the Transformers animated toys. I did have the Deluxe class Prowl, Optimus Prime, and the Voyager class Starscream. I did at one point have Bumblebee, but that was a little too hard for my young self, so I ended up taking it back to the store. But Prowl was definitely my favorite from the animated toy line, so that toy was just alright. Then we land on the Dark of the Moon toy line. This is when my collecting really picked up again. I had Deluxe class Top Spin, Crankcase Bumblebee, Commander class Megatron, Deluxe class Roadbuster, Voyager class Optimus Prime. All of these toys were some of the best movie toys that have ever been made. Ever. Again, I don't have these anymore since I had to sell for space reasons, which is a bit sad. There are a few of these I didn't like. The Deluxe class Sideswipe was a mess that I took back to the store, and the Commander class Sentinel Prime was just boring, and I took it back as well. Honestly, the only one I really wish I would have kept was Deluxe class Bumblebee. It was the best Deluxe class Bumblebee, like, in the entire universe. Transformation was easy. The robot and vehicle modes looked really amazing. I regret selling that one now more and more. Plus I have the, well, technically it's the Last Night Bumblebee, but it's the one that uses the AoE mold. Anyway, with that, Dark of the Moon gets one of the best toy lines in my opinion. Now, there are several toys that I didn't have as they came, as soon as they came out. But I've been going back and trying to get some of those. First being Transformers Prime. It's one of my favorite shows, and so I want to go back and get some of the toys from it. So far, I have Deluxe class Bumblebee, Wheeljack, and Prowl. These toys are great. Even Prowl, with his more complicated and a little bit flimsy transformation, they're still great toys, and I want to continue to get more. The other toy lines is the Generation Sterling 30. Now, I only have Deluxe class Windblade and Voyager class Roadbuster, which I did break one of his arms by accident. There are several more that I want, and I know that for Transformers fans, this is one of the more popular lines that have ever come out, as people still buy and sell them today, and they're not crazy expensive, even though the line is no longer in production. Now I'm going to talk about the Age of Extinction and Last Night toy lines at the same time. The AOE line was not the best. The AOE as a movie had issues where they don't show some character transformations, and yet they made a toy of this character, like Hound. And they still did this for the Last Night toy line, not to mention the way the toy would transform and how the robot mode would look was not reflected in the toy as it was in the movie. The deluxe class Bumblebee from AOE and the first wave of Last Night toy lines look like crap. They transform awfully and looks nothing like how the character does in the movie. Sometimes they improve a figure from movie to movie, like they did with Hound. The only AOE toys I still have is Deluxe Class Crosshairs, only because I like that one over the Last Night's Crosshairs, and Leader Class Optimus Prime, because Leader Class Prime in the Last Night toy line is the same one from AOE, but with less paint. Speaking of TLK toy line, or the Last Night, I have Legion Class Megatron, Deluxe Class Barricade Drift, First Wave Bumblebee, Voyager Class Megatron, and Hound. The Drift toy from the Last Night was pretty fun and is not much different from the AOE one, minus the whole different vehicle it transforms into. I'd say that the AOE toy line was just an alright one. Was definitely a good first try for some of the new characters in the movie. The Last Night toy line did a lot better for these characters and some of the new characters they put in that series. There are non-transformable die-cast cars made by Jada of the characters Barricade, Crosshairs, Bumblebee, and Optimus Prime. There are 1/24 scale, 1/32 scale, and 1/64 scale ones that each have their own amount of detail and whatnot. I do own all four characters in the 1/32 scale, which is about the size of a deluxe class transformer. So the Last Night toy line was much better than the AOE toy line, but not as good as Dark of the Moon toy line. Final toy lines I am going to talk about is Combiner Wars and Titan's Return. For Combiner Wars, I have Voyager Class Silverbolt and Scattershot, Deluxe Class Swindle, Ironhide, Sunstreaker, Blastoff, Off-Road, Blades, Dragstrip, and Smokescreen, Legends Class Skywarp, and Leader Class Thundercracker. I did at one point buy Voyager Class Optimus Prime, but I ended up selling that because that figure was just okay. There were points in the vehicle mode that wouldn't tab together, and the combined mode was bad. I did have Streetwise that ended up selling and buying Smokescreen because he's blue, and that was the only reason why. Yeah, I got enough of the Combiner Wars toys that I have two custom combiners. Unfortunately, I have no room to display them, and they just sit in boxes in my closet. But I do love this toy line a lot. Then we have Titan's Return. I own Deluxe Class Cup, Hot Rod, Blur, Chrome Dome, Highbrow, Trigger Happy, Scourge, Slugslinger, and Twinferno, Voyager Class Megatron and Broadside, and Legends Class Kickback, Bumblebee, and Bronze. Now, I have had a few issues with some of these toys, like Highbrow and Scourge having loose head connections. I also really don't like the jet mode that Broadside has, but that's just a personal thing and not like an actual problem. Yeah, they could have done it better, but I guess they did as good as they could with what they had. But as with Combiner Wars, I really love the Titan's Return line a lot. This time I only have a couple Power of the Primes toys, so I'm not going to say much about it. But from seeing reviews, I can say 100% I am not going to get the Leader Class Rodimus Prime because it looks like crap. Now, I guess I should talk about the Masterpiece line as well. It pretty much goes without saying that the Masterpiece line is amazing, but when you see the price point of them and look at my shelf and see that I have 0 of them, save for my knockoff Masterpiece, yeah, sorry, I don't really feel bad for doing that. I'd love to get more Masterpiece toys, sure, but even then it would be on like a yearly basis or something. Either way, I love the Masterpiece line, and I want them to continue to make some new G1 character molds. So there we go. I'll do a separate video for Power of the Primes when more of it comes out and I actually get more of them. I guess this went from a best to worst to a best to worst combined with which toys that I actually have and what I think about them. Anyways, if you want to add to the conversation, leave a comment below. As always, thanks for listening, and goodbye.